All right, all right, all right. How you guys doing in this beautiful morning on Saturday, guys? I hope you guys are doing absolutely beautiful. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. We're super excited because this is our first episode of the Non-Negotiable University, and I'm super excited to be here with this fabulous group of people. First of all, let me go ahead and introduce Holly Wyman, who a lot of people already have seen around on social media. She's a fitness coach. She's obviously a nutritionist. I mean, she does a lot of things. Holly's super good when it comes to anything, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to manifesting, when it comes to creating the life of their dreams. I think that Holly is one of the top on that matter. And I'm super excited to be sharing the Non-Negotiable University with her. She's an excellent partner in any way. And I'm super excited for doing that, baby. Send you a kiss. And of course, we have here one, I'm super excited because I know him for a long period of time now, but I'm super excited to introduce Adam Garza. Adam Garza is super talented. I mean, Adam Garza has been a musician for a long time. Adam, I heard and seen your music. Is absolutely beautiful. And now, of course, Adam is one of the cast members of Chosen. So we invite him to be here with us on the first episode. And we're super excited, guys, because we're going to talk about one of the I think one of the most important things that every single person needs to focus on their life, and that is manifesting. What is manifesting? A lot of people think that manifesting is different things, but we want to go ahead and just share with you really quick what actually is manifesting for the rest of the people. When you Google or when you go and ask a person, hey, what is manifesting? A lot of people don't understand exactly what is manifesting. A lot of people think that, hey, it might be just thinking about it. It might be just like, hey, put it as a background on your phone or on your computer, creating a wall with different things that you want to go ahead and achieve. But I think it's more than that. So if you Google what manifesting is, you will see this: the act of using methods such as visualization, picturing something in your mind, and of course affirmation, repeating possibly phrases that a lot of people do just to help you imagine achieving something, in the belief that doing so will make it more likely to happen. Manifesting is based on the idea that you can think your dreams into reality. Sounds very cool. Sounds very
mouthful.
Thoughtful in that sense, but I think it goes more than that. Holly, what do you think about that?
Well, I want to start by saying thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Adam, for being here today, taking the time on your Saturday morning to do a live with us.
Happy to be here.
My thoughts on that obviously are very similar. I feel like all of us sitting here can say that we've manifested some pretty amazing things in our life, and I would say this, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, manifesting to me is taking your thoughts or your dreams and bringing them into the physical world. So we're taking something that maybe started, even as a kid, you have a dream to do something, but now you're taking the actions and the things that you once were invisible and now they're visible. That is the act of manifesting. So bringing energy into form.
Oh, wow. That's powerful, actually, to say it that way, bringing energy into form, because it's true. That's really what it is. Everything in this life is energy. We are energy, and we can become who we want how we want, if we can just imagine it and believe it. My dad used to
Yes.
always tell me that. My dad used to always say, you can achieve anything in this life if you just believe enough. And I think that's true. And some
Yep.
people will complain you can't you probably can't become a professional basketball player at the age of 40, but probably because you can't believe enough to make it happen.
Well,
In another quantum physics world or whatever, I'm sure it's possible. So
there are some stories of
True.
some athletes that they started their career at 30 or something like that, even though it was for a short period of time, but it happened. I agree with that 100%. Adam, what was like that for you when you got? Tell us your story about The Chosen, because I think that's a very cool story, right? Like The Chosen
okay.
right now is a TV series that everyone is very hooked with.
Yeah.
Holly was watching it until you finished the chapters, babe, of the.
Did you
Yeah.
watch it all?
Yeah, I did watch it all. So now
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on the final season. But yeah, it was very interesting. I watch it because I mean we've discussed this between us two before, but I love being able to kind of see the different belief systems and religion and things like that because that to me is fascinating. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it kind of like brought it to life because like I grew up, you know, in my house we had the Bible, we read the Bible. You hear these stories, and it's so, I don't know, that old language is so formal, and it's like, what if thou thee wilt, you know, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
seeing it in video where it's not being portrayed as something so in my eyes proper,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like brought it to life for me, you know. So but yeah, I thank you so much for having me come on here. I really appreciate it. I I love talking about, you know, my experiences on The Chosen, and I only get to do that like in passing. Someone's like, how'd it go? What was it like? You know, and it's like always like a rushed, oh yeah, and I'll tell you about that part later, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
glad I'm able to sit here with you guys and share with you what I experienced. But it was a really amazing I don't know if you would say like chapter in my life, I guess. It was that big for me, to be
Mm.
honest. Like I started watching The Chosen. I think it was probably midway through the third season. I started at the beginning. That's about how long it took for the hype to hit my house, and
Mm.
see that like all these people are watching it. Like, haven't you heard about it? You know. So I wanted to see what it was like. The first three episodes for me were difficult to watch. I'd say it was just like Jesus wasn't in it much, the character, and it was like just building this a story with Mary Magdalene and things like that. And I was like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I always tell everyone this: if you haven't watched The Chosen, um, give it at least 4 episodes before you shut it down, because
Mm-hmm.
once you get through that, once I got through that fourth episode, I was hooked. Like, what's the first time that I saw the character Jesus go up to a man, you know, put his hands on the man's eyes and heal him, or like completely heal a leper. Like, it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, whatever it is. When you see someone that grateful to be healed of something that's been a burden their entire lives, it like made me feel things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was immediately like, I cannot stop watching this show now. And so, and I think when we go back to manifesting, I feel like that's an important piece of manifesting, is like the feeling. And for me, that show brought such a strong feeling that, long story short, I was putting in an application to be on the show, and I got accepted and cast as a background actor, an extra on the show, but a paid one, it was like a level up from, like, you
Yes.
know,
That's
something
so
that you
cool.
would, it was pretty cool. And all that happened was, I love to hike out here. We're in Utah actually, and the mountains out here are like incredible. If you could spend some time in the mountains, take advantage of it. So I was out with my buddy, just hiking, and we took a picture. He posted it on Facebook, and one of his friends made the comment, has Adam ever considered applying to be on the Chosen, the TV show? And I was, at this point, I don't know what you describe as a super fan, but at this point, I think I was a super fan. I wasn't like going out and buying mugs and t-shirts, but I was like waiting for the next opportunity to watch another episode. And like, I was like, oh, the kids are asleep now. Okay, let's put it on, you know? So
Yeah.
Your wife was my husband is in the Chosen.
yeah. Yeah. And so I got my wife hooked on it too. And so whenever the guy sent that message, he's like, hey, I've been an extra. He said, I've been an extra on The Chosen before in the past seasons, and I think Adam would be a shoo-in because I had a pretty big beard at the time. Mm-hmm. And so he sent me the application. I applied, and the process was kind of cool. They make you send in a picture, and then they tell you, don't cut your hair, don't trim your beard, and just keep sending in pictures until, you know, it's time to make a decision. So I did that. I actually sent a picture of myself. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know a whole lot about the movie industry, but I was getting in better shape, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a picture with my shirt off. So that's probably what actually got me on the show now. No, but I assume, you know, they'd like to see body composition and see like, oh, this guy would be a good fit for this. I was trying whatever I could to get on, and when I was younger, I wasn't like smart enough to apply to all these different universities and like get, you know, into schools, you know, but I've seen that on like TV shows and stuff, and I would imagine that like finally getting that email and saying I was accepted as an actor was similar to someone like getting into Yale or something.
Oh yeah.
Because I was so pumped about it, and I feel like, honestly, watching the show, thinking about like this is what it would be like to actually be there. I would love to be there in real life, you know. I wanted that so badly, and it just happened on it's almost like on its own. I didn't have to put forth much effort. I just sent in a picture, I kept updating, and then finally I got into to be on what they call the Teal group, which was, I don't know if you've seen the opening scenes of the Chosen, but they have like all the fish swimming one way, and then the teal ones are swimming the other way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I'll take that as a compliment, because we were like, there was very few like from the Teal group that were hired to be full time on the Chosen, and I had no idea it was actually in Goshen, Utah. So I applied and found out. I was like, where the heck is Goshen? I've never even heard of that place, but it's like an hour and a half from where I am. I'm in Kaysville, so just driving it, I'm like,
this worked out perfectly.
Huh?
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it worked out. Like, you wouldn't guess that a lot of those scenes are shot in Utah, but like, I guess when you see the mountains on the show, you're like, oh yeah, that is Utah. But they have a really cool set out there and all that. So yeah, being on the show or just getting on the show was like half of the victory. And then once I was cast as a background actor, then what's interesting is like they'll film a section of like maybe like the 4th episode on this day, and then the next day they'll go back to like a beginning part of a 1st episode, and they're always jumping around like that. And I think they figured out what the best way to use the people is, you know, the people that they have on hand. Yeah. Like, this is the best way to use them, get our money's worth or whatever. So, but because of that, it would be like you're getting an email at 11:30 p.m. or midnight, and it's telling you where you have to be at what time. And it would sometimes be like, be here at 6.
I think we lost his audio, right? Or is my audio?
We can't hear you. For some reason it muted.
Let's see if we can hear you.
Oh,
But it's crazy. I mean, we cannot hear
that's
you
weird.
still, Adam.
We just lost the audio randomly. That's kind of weird.
Yep. But anyway, that's crazy. That's crazy. Everything that how manifesting works, right? And everything how things come to play, so we can go ahead and get that, right? Like I think that's the difference between thinking and believing, right? And that's one of the things that I think that are so powerful when it comes to, for example, when Adam was explaining right now that we can, I think we can hear you now, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's back now.
Okay, sorry
We
about
were,
that. Where did you lose me?
no problem. I think we were talking about the difference between thinking and believing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I
Hmm.
think that what you were saying right now, of everything that happened to you, because I mean, let's be honest, I know you and I've seen the change that you have done in your life, not only in your success from your goals on getting what you want, but for example on your transformation, also on your body that you have done. And I think that that's that has to do something of what you change in your believing, right? Because
Oh,
I know 100%. And I think Holly, on this case, I think that Holly can have a good perspective on that, because she talks so much about that, about the difference of thinking and believing, right? Because I think that most of us think that we want something. Most of us have that thought, but we don't transform that into a belief.
yeah,
And I think that's powerful. I think that I don't know what you guys think on that, but I think that's powerful. A lot of people are missing out on the things that they want because they don't know what is the difference between thinking what they want and believing what they
yeah.
want.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
just real quick, I was just going to add. Uh, I feel like with my transformation, it's been a mental transformation, and then the physical came after. But I'm blessed to be surrounded by people who are very positive and that have a lot of determination, like you guys. Knowing you, affiliating with you guys, that's like I would recommend that anyone watching this show, try their very best to put themselves in a situation where they're surrounded by people who are like-minded and positive, because
Yes.
that really makes it a whole lot easier to start thinking and believing that you can. It's like at some point, working with these great people, I just knew if
Yep.
I wanted to do this, I can do it. It's not rocket science,
Hmm.
just like lifted me up. I don't know if you guys have felt that in your lives, and the opposite can be true of like a negative person,
Yep.
an energy vampire that's just pulling you down, all the time. It's like, gosh, it's so hard to stay positive sometimes if there's people like that in your life.
Yep. I agree 100%. I think that's such a good thing to bring up because sometimes people forget that we're human. And as humans, we are so susceptible to what's going on around us in our environment. I mean, from when you're a child and even as an adult, like the energy that you're around, like we said in the beginning, if every single thing in this world is energy, including you, then you have to understand that when you are putting yourself in and around energy that is not positive or
Mhm.
that is something that's pulling you down, then that's also going to affect you in a huge way. And that kind of makes me want to bring up our new community that we just started on school. Like we just started a free community for people because of this exact reason. Because we know that having a circle of people who believe in you, people who are speaking life into you, that are showing you the way, because that was what I was missing earlier in my journey, and what I was wanting was guidance. I just wanted support because it's really hard, when you come from like a dysfunctional family, or you come from being around stuff that's just really unhealthy, and it can be really hard because, like you said, it's like the crabs in the bucket thing where you start to get out and the people around you want to pull you down. And it's not because maybe they don't love you, but just because they're afraid, and they're
Yep.
afraid to see you change because they don't know what's going to happen to you. So It's so important to have that. And if you don't, I mean, it's not like it's impossible to make changes and to do things in your life, but it definitely will make it 100 times easier to
Oh yeah.
get where you want to go and faster if you have that support system
Yeah.
and community.
I even think that sometimes the crabs that are pulling you down are they don't have bad intentions all the time.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes they're good people, and they're.
Yes.
Have you heard the analogy of the monkeys and the bananas at the top of the pole? So
Oh
there's
yes, yes, yes.
you have
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's
yeah.
a
So they have up there. They did experiments where they had this pole at the very top. They had these bananas, and every time a monkey would try to go up to grab a banana, they would spray him with water. And so he'd come back down. And over time, they sprayed all these monkeys. They began to pull out one monkey and introduce one new monkey. And the new monkey would go up, was the only one that would go up for the banana. And all of the other monkeys would pull them down, say, no, 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 don't do that. You're going to get sprayed,
Oh,
right?
wow.
But
Okay.
over time, they replaced every single monkey in that room. They were all, none of them knew why. They were all pulling each other down and keeping them
Wow.
away from the bananas. And I feel like sometimes people around us, they have all of these experiences. They're like, oh, no, 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 don't start that company. You can't start your own company. You're going to, you're going to regret it. Don't do
Yeah.
that,
I got burned when I did that.
Exactly. They might not even know why they're saying it, but it's just in their subconscious. It's a belief. It's a core belief of theirs. And they're trying to not trying to
Yes.
put it on you, but they are putting it on you if you let
Yep.
it.
Yep. And even out of love, like you said, it's not that people have those bad intentions, but everybody wants to, especially when they care about you, they unintentionally project their beliefs onto you because here's the dangerous thing about belief systems is that whatever you believe to be true is true for you, but not necessarily for someone else. And people, they take their truth and they project it out into the world unknowingly, especially the less conscious you are as a person, the more that you're going to think that everyone else thinks like you, which
Mhm.
really is like um I mean, it's easy to think that way, right? When you grow up in an environment that's very religious, for example, and you think that your way is the only right way. But then if you ask yourself a question, okay, well, Muslims think they're correct, Christians think they're correct, Mormons think they're correct, and so do atheists. So who's right in the situation? Because they all think they're right.
Yeah.
So then it kind of boils down to okay, so basically, whatever we believe becomes true for us.
yes,
So beliefs are moldable.
Oh yeah.
Beliefs are something that you think and you think over time. When you repeat a thought, it becomes a belief system.
Yeah.
That's how you create a belief. Because it's just like everything is a habit, right? Your habit of thought is what creates a belief system. Just like you brush your teeth or you eat a certain way and it becomes who you are and your personality. Your
yes.
personality is shaped by consistently thinking a certain amount of thought or a certain type of thoughts that create who you are.
Yeah. Exactly.
I,
Then they
I love
become.
that. I love that what you say, Holly, because so true, and that's why I want to share this thing of Jim Carrey that he says, and I love some of the things that Jim Carrey think. I mean, that say about manifestation, because I think that he's on point on that. And Jim Carrey said, and listen to these guys because this says a lot to what you guys were talking right now. Jim Carrey said, I have an insane, and I have it right here as well, so I can read it. I'm gonna read the whole thing so you guys can have it. It says, it says, Jim Carrey said, the actor, right? A lot of people know that he's an actor, movie actor.
Mm-hmm.
I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. An insane belief. I think it's ultimately complete sanity. I believe we are creators. I believe we create with every thought and every word. Every moment is pregnant with the next moment in your life. We all start out with a false belief about ourselves, with some untrue thing that we believe walking through our lives, like I'm not worthy, like I'm not lovable, like I'm gonna fail. Whatever you mistaken belief about yourself is your form of a personality around.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy because it's true. How many of us how we been around people that have shaped our beliefs, that have shaped our personalities, right? I come from a culture that I had to delete paradigms in order for me to succeed, because there were so many paradigms like, oh, you don't know the language, you are Latino, you don't know this, you don't know that. I mean, there's so many things that they were around myself, like you don't have a college degree, you don't have this, you don't have that. There were so many things around myself that made me lose belief on my own self, that
Mhm.
made me say, okay, now I have to be this person in order for me to have a piece of the pie. But I have to delete all that. I have to move from the environment that I was to an environment where actually people were believing in me, in order for me to start shaping those beliefs, in order for me to start believing that I can do it. And it was an exercise, because it was not just thinking that I wanted to be successful, it was actually believing it. And we were talking the other day with Holly, and we were discussing the difference between believing and thinking. And I was telling Holly that I strongly believe that when you start changing those beliefs, and when you start knowing for a fact that you're going to get it, and you start taking action towards it, things are going to happen 100%.
Yep.
100%. And
Yeah.
that's
And
because that was my life. That was actually what I experienced. And it's not that I'm smarter than other people. I've seen so many people that are so smart that you say that, oh my gosh, how come this guy or this girl is not successful? And it's because they have that lack of believing, because they're not working on that. They could be so smart, they could be the best person in the room, but the lack of energy and the lack of believing in themselves, guys, that was so powerful. I was walking when I was used to work in customer service. I got invited. I'm going to tell you this story because I think this story is really cool. I got invited for the first time to an executive meeting. Imagine all the CEOs, the marketing directors, all the hot shots of the company in a conference room. And I got invited because they wanted to hear what were the issues of customer service, so they can go ahead and work. So I was just like an invited. I was not even sitting on the main table. I was on the corner with my little chair, you know what I mean, just so when it's my turn to talk, I can go ahead and talk. But I took that opportunity to say, you know what, this is my shot. I'm gonna believe that this is my shot, and this is what is gonna create my success. I dressed up, guys. I dressed up, and there were some top leaders there. I dressed up better than even the CEO or the owner of that company. And
That's all.
when I walked in that room, everyone was like, "Holy crap, who's that guy?"
Wow.
The leaders were asking, going to my to my chair and give me a handshake and say like, "Are you the new VP? Are you the new?" I was like, "No, I work in customer service." People were, but I believe it so much in myself that I was attracting already that type of treatment. I was being treated like the CEO, like an owner, like something that it was were beyond my reach at that moment. And it was only because I was believing in myself 100%. And
Can
because
I can I ask you a question about
yeah,
that?
yeah.
When you realized that had been invited to this meeting, did you feel like that was, that was a step up, that was next level for you, or a win in your life?
Yes, yes, for me it was like, holy crap, I got invited to a circle that I never been in my life before.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, because this is something that's been coming back into my thoughts almost daily. Is we had the chance to meet James Lawrence. He's the Iron Cowboy.
Mhm.
You guys know who James Lawrence is. He
Mhm.
ran 50 marathons or 50 triathlons in 50 days. He actually
dang.
did 51. A lot of people don't know about I'm sorry, he did 100. He did 50 first, then later on he did 100 triathlons in 100 days, and then he did one more when he was done. He's the only person ever to come close to that. But one thing he told me, I'll never forget. He said, "Look, you need little wins. You need to set mini goals
Mm,
and have these little wins, but you need to have them often, because if you're scraping away and you're trying to chip away at something, and you never feel like you're getting anywhere, it's going to be a lot harder to stay positive and to have the belief. But like, I know a little bit about you, JC, from your prior life where you played semi-pro soccer,
Hmm.
and I knew about you that you worked in a call center, and I've always known that you're very driven. Like, you push yourself really hard, and you don't give up. And so what I believe was happening was, over time, you're getting these little wins, these little wins. Maybe that invitation to that meeting was a big win for you, but you're still collecting these wins, and your belief will start to go through the roof, because you're like, I've already done this. I can do this. Or you
Yes.
start to see applications in other realms of life where you didn't see them before. You're like, this is similar to, this fitness challenge that I was able to achieve. I can do this in business. And manifesting is not just doing. It's almost the opposite. It's believing things into existence. But I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to believe things when you get those little wins. And that's pretty important, because then all of a
yes.
sudden your ability to bring things into life is just goes through the roof.
Yep. Totally, totally agree with that. I think that you have to, like you said, have those small wins because you start to build momentum in a positive direction. And
Yes.
just like you can build momentum in a negative direction, if you have a lot of losses and failures, right, you start to believe that you're a failure. You start to believe, oh, well, maybe I can't do it. Someone's constantly telling you in your ear that you're incapable or that you're not good enough or whatever. You start to believe it. Why? Because it's repetition of something negative. And so I
Yep.
think that as you partake in something that you can have a little win on, you do create more self belief and self confidence. That's why, for me, as a coach, especially, in the past working with different clients, like it was so important for me to have them start with something small to build that momentum. Something even as simple as, okay, maybe you're sedentary. I just want you to get some steps in your
Hmm.
day. Because those little things, they start to feel better, which is a result. And then they start to, see a difference not only in that, but like as you start to build steps up, maybe even see a difference in your weight just by changing one thing. And
Right.
so that is those small like results that build the positive momentum that is so important for belief. And I also feel like one thing I do want to mention about beliefs as well is that, like we were talking about in the beginning with thoughts, right? Like thoughts are repetitive, they are something that constantly goes on in our brain all the time. And most of us are only aware of, 5% of what's going on here inside of our brain and what's being repeated constantly. There's 95% of your thoughts that you're not even aware of that are playing in the background. And these are the things that are manifesting in your life. So most people will say things like, I want to make money. I want a relationship, and yet they don't have it. The only reason you don't have something is because you have subconscious beliefs, thoughts that are stopping you from making the changes that would actually get you the thing. So I do think that, of course, your thinking is so important and your belief systems because that will change how you show up and it changes how you take action potentially and of course changes the result. But I think that people get this kind of like wanting mixed up with believing because you hear people say things like, I want the money, I believe that I can have it, I
Yeah.
do believe. No, you don't. You don't believe because people who believe match it with their action. If
Yeah.
I come up to you and I am in a relationship with you, let's say in a romantic relationship with JC, and every single day I'm abusing him, I'm hitting him, I'm treating him like crap, but I'm like, I love you, I love you, he's not gonna believe me. I believe, I wholly believe that I love you. And he's like, well, Your actions show me the opposite.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, doesn't matter what you say, it matters the embodiment. Who are you being? How are you showing up every day? Because that is going to show me and the whole world what you really believe. So,
Yes.
watching your actions every day to me is what is a dead giveaway about what it is that you actually hold as a core belief about yourself and about life.
A light bulb went off for me when you were saying that, and it's I think it's actually so cool because I've never really heard it said like that. You know, your subconscious thoughts are like 95% of the time, and your conscious thoughts are like 5% of the time. But it makes perfect sense if you're maybe 5% of the time you're saying, "I want a relationship. I want more money." And then 95% of the time you're saying, I don't have this.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're constantly like repeating to yourself, I don't have this, I don't have money, I don't have a relationship. And then you're like, I want a relationship, I believe I'll have a relationship. You know, it's like, no, you need to like really believe it and be aware of your, and try to be more aware of what
Yes.
you're putting out into the universe. All the
Yes.
times you're like, and if you feel anxiety surrounding something, that's probably a good sign that like, you know, if I feel anxiety that I need to make money, I need to make money, I don't have it, then that's a powerful manifestation tool for
Yes.
the negative.
Yes. That's a
Totally,
good point.
totally. I think that goes with relationships as well. I mean, one of the things that you just talked, that you guys just said about relationships, I think that that's so important. The moment that you start uh, believing that you're gonna get the partner that you want, you start making changes on yourself to attract that person.
Mhm.
Because that happened to me. I always wanted to have the perfect partner for me, right? Like what is the perfect partner for me? I always wanted, but I think that deep inside I was not uh, believing 100% that I was gonna get it. But the moment that I surrendered and I just said, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, I know that I will get it, and I surrendered into that thought, and I started making changes on myself to go ahead and start attracting that person. It came. It came. It's literally how powerful that is. You know what I mean? How you start manifesting things and you start changing automatically without thinking, and then you attract, and then you get the things that you want. That's why I love this subject about manifesting, guys, because honestly, it can change literally every single part of any area of your life. And I think the most important things is health, your goals as financial to get financial freedom, and your partnership. I mean, those three are the things that are gonna get you to a place where honestly you are thriving, you're happy, and regardless of what happens in your life, you are gonna be in the best situation ever because you're in peace. You're in peace with your decisions. You're in peace with what you have, and that's so important. I know for a fact that later on your path, because we all start with different goals, right? Like for example, we all want the cars, the houses, the dream life, and all that stuff. But then later on, you realize what is actually important, what actually is the one that you're getting, right? Which is freedom, which is having that happiness, that calm and quietness in your life, in all the areas, with your relationship, with your finances, with your life, being present, doing all those things. And I think that manifesting that calmness in your life, getting those little things in order for you to get them, I think that's so powerful. That's so powerful to me, and that's why I love this so much.
Yep. Same here. It's such a passion of mine, not only because obviously my past, growing up in religion and seeing what it's like to be, you know, in that perspective and then coming out of it. I
Yes.
I kind of was, I guess, forced into this work, you could say. And
Mhm.
I truly now believe that this is so connected to my purpose and my calling in this life, because it was so liberating for me when I got out of that and I went through an identity crisis and I had to start from the bottom. I had to really build a new set of beliefs, a new way of thinking, because the way that I was raised, and once I got out of that, it was like I questioned everything. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't even know if anything was real. Like, I'm talking like existential crisis, where it's hard to go through that. You know, some people call it the dark night of the soul. And that was the hardest thing to go through. And at the time, I was so resistant and mad at life and God and whatever. But now I see it as the biggest blessing because it pushed me into this realm of being able to create myself. I get to literally be the creative artist of life. I get to mold who Holly is and who she becomes. I get to decide the relationships that I experience. I get to decide the type of money that I create and how I create it and how much I get to have of it. So everything is an extension of me and
Yep.
changing me, because internal to external, as I change myself and I believe things internally, they manifest in the external, which makes life so much more fun because now you're in control. Now you get to design your life based on how you want it to be, like an extension, literally, of your soul, your essence, your beauty, your medicine, the things that you can offer humanity. And this is what I think is really going to heal humanity and the planet, is
Yes.
us stepping into our true self. You know, what
Mhm.
makes us alive, what lights us up, and those passions and those gifts that each one of us has, because we all have our own unique set of talents and skills that we can bring to the table.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Holly. So,
Yeah.
like in your life, you felt like you kind of had a clean slate because you kind of needed to start over, right? Because you were questioning everything in that dark time in your life. And I'm wondering, because like for you, I could see that as a huge blessing because you were, it kind of happened to you. And then you took the reins and you're like, I'm going to decide what I want my life to be now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna believe because I didn't know. I thought I believed in all this stuff. Turns out I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm wondering if like what you guys think for someone else that doesn't have an experience like that, like an existential crisis or something that forces them to question everything, is how would they begin to like maybe can they start over? Can they start with a new clean slate? Or would you say, it would be like little by little for most people?
Yeah. I mean, to touch on that really quick, I think that, of course, not everyone has to go through, a crisis per se, but
Hmm.
I do think that you can add on to your existing resources that you have, your tools that you have as a human being. For example, like learning about this information, you can plug and play this into any sort of belief system. Like you can, it's not like you can't have, a religious belief of any kind, but the only thing that can kind of run into a problem is that, of course, in certain faiths, they use maybe more fear to motivate behavior versus curiosity and love. So I think you just have to be kind of aware of what is the foundation of your belief system. And if you feel good with where you are with your foundation, then of course you can build from there.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you
You don't
don't
have to
have a
start all the way over. Yeah. Uh,
Yes. But if you don't have a solid foundation, it's probably best to do away with that and
mhm.
build something new. But you know how it is with change for every human, even positive change is scary.
Yes.
It can threaten our sense of safety and survival, and even like it just makes us feel vulnerable. So that is another reason why it's good to have support, accountability, and people around you, and even
Yes.
just to have the knowledge of I'm going into this change and this transformation with the expectation that I'm gonna have a lot of emotions come up for me. I'm gonna go through, metamorphosis, and just like a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, that is kind of the process that you go through as you become, a new version of yourself. And when you have an expectation of, okay, I've got this and I have people to support me, I have a community or friends, and instead of resisting the uncomfortable feelings and then resisting the change and the pain or whatever, because pain is temporary when you accept it and let it pass. It's the resistance that causes the suffering. So if we don't want to suffer, we become more open,
Yes.
open to change, open to the uncomfortable feelings, because it's not going to last forever. That's what I've learned.
That's awesome. That's really insightful. Like, because a lot of people have these blockage. I would call them blockages, where like it's like really hard to believe a certain. Like for me, for example, my parents, we weren't poor, we weren't dirt poor or anything like that. Like my dad made a pretty good living, but all of my parents' arguments were surrounding money always.
Mm.
And I kind of just grew up with this belief like, man, money is hard to get. It's very difficult to make money. It must be. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fighting all the time. And so for me, it was like getting rid of that blockage was like, I would say for me personally, the only way I could describe it is a spiritual experience. It's like, it's in there somewhere. I need to, like you said, Holly, I need to make peace with it, not fight it so much, but just let it go
Yes.
and be okay with it. And I've actually come across something really cool recently that's really, I think it's a very powerful manifestation tool. It's Joe Dispenza's Mind movie.
Mm.
And I know you guys have vision boards, right? You've created a vision board, and the vision board typically, for our listeners, usually helps you see these are the things, this is the lifestyle I want to live. These are the pictures I'm going to put up to remind me of like, this is the life that I want to create and stuff. Well, my movie is similar, but it's in video form. And what he has you do is you put like 8 minutes of it's just a kaleidoscope. You know, those things that you look through. Everyone knows what a kaleidoscope is, but it's just like that. But in video form, and it has music playing to it. And what that's supposed to do is help you think about nothing. Because when you meditate, you get into a state of like zero, where you're nothing, nowhere, no time, no place. You're just looking at geometric shapes, and it kind of puts me in like a sleepy state, which is like a better brainwave for manifestation. And then after that, you put in a song that means something to you, and then you start you overlay videos of what you want your life to be like, and you watch it first thing in the morning. You try to watch it first thing in the morning and before you go to bed. That's what I've been doing. And guys, it's already started to do some incredible things for me. Honestly, like one of my main things is like, I want to be strong, happy, and healthy. One of my there's affirmations in it that I overlay with my voice. I recorded my voice, and one of the things I say is like, I am strong, and my body is healthy and strong from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. And that for me, for some reason, just like it felt like, oh, this is good for me. Like I need to hear this. And recently what's happening is, it's crazy, guys. Like all of a sudden my wife was like, hey, I made an appointment for you at the clinic to get your blood drawn. I'm like, okay. I go in, they check my levels, like my LDL is like through the roof, and my HDL, which is like the good cholesterol, is like really low, which could be really bad. I'm like, crap. I started doing research. I'm like, I need to start taking omega-3. I need to start, I actually, Holly, you told me about the sea salt, the Baja Gold. I've been drinking my Baja Gold in the morning.
Nice.
I put it in my water. All of these little changes, like I'm taking probably like 6 different supplements right now. I wouldn't say like medications, just like vitamins and things like that. And all of a sudden I'm like, my doctor's like, do you want to get physical therapy for your back? Because I've had back problems for a long time. I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds great. I've been to 3 physical therapy sessions now. My back feels wonderful. I'm like on cloud 9 now, and I'm ready to start, getting more exercise in my core, my legs and stuff. There's other things in my mind movie, like surrounding my wife, my relationship with my wife. I want it to be, respectful and loving and, open and all these things. And at first, all of a sudden, I'm like, why are we getting in all these fights? I've been watching my mind movie every morning, every night. And afterwards I come to find out that was a necessary thing we
Wow.
needed to talk through to get, you know, to the other side. And it's like
Awesome.
getting better and better and better. And I'm just like, I can just my testimonial is that positive thinking and visualization, it really works. It creates new neural pathways in your brain, and tells your brain, this is what my life is like. You start to get used to it. And then going back to the money thing, this is the last thing I'll say. I know I'm taking up a lot of time. It was always hard for me to get past it. Like, money's so hard to make. And in my mind movie, one of my affirmations is I'm healthy, wealthy, and abundant. Money comes to me easily and quickly. The first, like, probably 10 times hearing that, it felt wrong, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And now it feels so right. It's like there's a neural pathway has been created. It's like, I am going to get very wealthy. I am wealthy. I am strong. I am healthy. I am these things, and I'm starting to act that way. And it's just going to bring more and more and more of that.
It's funny
That's
that you say
awesome.
that. It's funny that you say that, Adam, because when I met Holly, right, I wasn't that much into manifesting. I mean, I believe what manifesting was, and I was clear on what it was, but I think Holly brought a different perspective of what that is. And what night, I still remember well. I just started hearing. I was sleeping, and I started hearing like voices like very delicate voices, right? Like, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm that. Not on those precise affirmations, but I'm just giving an example. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Am I going crazy? Where is those sounds coming from? But I
Angels
didn't
or
know.
demons?
Yes, I was like,
My
all these
demons are being positive. This is
oh,
so
yes,
weird.
all those demons. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna be successful. Yeah, but all the people are saying it. And and then I asked Holly, I woke her up, and I was like, hey, did you hear that? And she started laughing. She's like, yeah, those are my affirmations. she record she
That's
recorded
awesome.
her affirmations, and she put it in lower volume, but all night we're like that. And I was like, what is that? So we started, actually, I asked Holly to do one for me, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I think I haven't used it as much as I wanted to, but I will start using it because I think that is a super tool on that matter. Holly is very dedicated to what that is. I mean, she wakes up early morning. I don't know if I should be giving your daily
Your
routine,
phone.
It's fine.
but she wakes up every early in the morning, and without no hesitation, the first thing that she goes and she start writing her manifestation, doing her gratitude, connecting with the grass. I mean, connecting with earth, and she start. I mean, honestly, one of the things that I love about that is that she's very into that, and I've seen so many changes and so many things come true in what she wanted before that now we're achieving, that I'm like, holy crap, this thing is so powerful. It's so powerful that
That's
if every single person start working on that, things will change for them 100%.
Yep.
Well,
It's
I know
powerful.
that Holly is a powerful manifester because, first of all, she got this guy
She manifests me. I was kidding.
to manifest you. You're like,
No,
I'm the prize. No, um, no, but and then I follow you guys on Instagram and all that, all the social medias, and the lifestyle you live. That's like what everyone would want, you know. I love seeing your videos and your pictures of being in Thailand, like opening up your French doors to the ocean and things like that. That's like, you know. So you can't tell me manifestation doesn't work,
yeah,
because
Yeah.
you
We're living the dream life. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
literally, and that's something that I told JC, and I was like, it's time for us to come together and share this with people, not just because of course we want to, you know, expand our capacity to bring in more income and things like that, but it's also because we know that this is growth for us. When you expand
yeah,
your container to hold more money, to hold more love, to basically just better your life in so many ways. It helps you grow as a person. You have to step into a new version of yourself. And so us doing this and sharing this with others is such a passion of mine, because basically I'm helping other people step into their dream life and get to experience things that once upon a time I thought was not even possible. At some point in my life, I had dreams, that maybe I could live a better life, but like we talked about, I didn't believe it. I didn't even let myself go there and actually want it, because I thought I'm going to be let down.
It's so sad because I think a lot of people feel that way. Like,
Yeah,
Yes.
don't
I
even
do think
entertain the
so.
thought because I don't want to be let down.
Yep, like don't let yourself dream too big, because then you're just going to have to feel the sadness of, never amounting to what you maybe thought you could do or what you could be. And so I think that it takes a lot of courage and bravery to step into, one, allowing yourself to actually want what you really want. Like, do
Mm,
you let yourself go there? Do you choose to, when it comes to choosing your partner, are you being honest about the things that you want and writing those things down? And then also being able to take the steps necessary toward that, like obviously the things that we've shared today. And for me, I think I'm a very stubborn, I'm a very stubborn person and very determined in a lot of ways, which has blessed me, because I just decided, I woke up and I was like, if this is my one life that I get to live, I'm going to try things and do whatever I can to get what I want, because the worst case scenario, I don't get it, but at least I tried. And if
mm,
I try, I don't have to, be on my deathbed and living in regret, because I
Yes.
think that's one of the worst things, is not giving your best and not trying, not going for it, and then being like, "Oh, I should have. Oh, I wish I would have done this," because now you have to live with that energy. And so I think that that is what I want, my intention is with sharing, with being on social media, is I am your permission slip. I am here to invite you to step into who you really are. Let's do this together, because you're not alone anymore. That is why we have community. That is why we have people to lead the way for many people who are scared,
Yeah.
because it is scary. Not everyone, has the same amount of courage or maybe life experiences. And for me, my life made me who I am. And I believe it was cultivating to make me strong enough to be a leader for people in that way. So that is now, I have to step into that. I have to accept that and, be that person, so that other people can also, eventually have their dream life too.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Agree
I'm so glad
100%.
you guys are doing this.
Agree 100%. So remember, guys, I think that it's so important that everyone who's listening to us right now, make sure that you are understanding really, really deep what actually manifesting and the tools of what manifesting is. I believe that the recordings that you guys do, the iMovies of you guys, I think is very important. Everything that you guys do in order for you guys to change from just a thought to actually believing in yourself that you can go ahead and do it. That is the goal. Once that you get into that spot, game over. Game over, because from then on you'll start receiving, you'll start attracting, you'll start getting all those things that you are, and you will start making the steps and the action towards those goals that you always want. And it's so beautiful because you can impact so many lives. So I'm so grateful for being sharing this type of information with you guys. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much, Holly, for obviously being that person that is showing that to us, because I believe that you are the person who is teaching me a lot when it comes to manifesting and comes to getting all those things. And I'm really appreciative of that and super excited to start getting this non-negotiable university with everyone, you and me, and sharing all of our things in order for them to get a better health, in order for them to get a better freedom or finances, and of course better in relationships, because I think that's key. We haven't touched yet the relationship part, but I think that for any man or woman, finding the perfect person for them, for their goals, for whatever they want, is key. And we will be touching those subjects later on our next non-negotiable channels. But super excited. You excited?
Yeah, I am. And I mean, I'd like to share a couple more things before we head off here too. And It looks like we might have lost Adam. I don't know if his connection's bad or something, but I'm assuming he'll try to log back on here in a second. But um, yeah, and like you said about, I'm teaching you many things about manifestation and my perspective, but I think you have also taught me a lot about it as well. And I think that is the beauty of having an incredible partnership, but also touching a little bit on the masculine and the feminine and how when they come together, it's so powerful because being in a relationship with you and you being with me, it's like we get to step into our strengths, and I get to be more feminine because you are providing a masculine container for me and vice versa, right? So
Yes.
we actually get to thrive by being connected to each other, by being in partnership, and I think that is the point of a partnership and a relationship is to come
Yes.
together not only for the ability to grow together and of course to make each other happier, but it's to allow the man or the woman to be in their best self, to be able to thrive, to be able to do those things. And so, of course, on the topic of manifestation, there's many things that as a woman she can do to optimize her manifestations of whatever it is that she wants, money and opportunities and things like that. And I did want to touch on that just a little bit because I know that we have discussed this, me and JC, in the past. And that is the whole concept of how action shows up different for the feminine versus the masculine. And I
Yes.
like to use feminine and masculine because oftentimes people think that when I say masculine, I'm talking about a man, and when I'm talking about feminine, I'm talking about a female. We're talking about energies because these energies, all of us have them within us, right? I have masculine and feminine energy, the same way
Yes.
that JC also has masculine and feminine. We just have them at different levels, and that affects how we connect. For example, if I'm a feminine woman with primarily feminine energy, I'm going to be looking for a masculine counterpart who has majority masculine energy. That is just how life works in order for us to have polarity and to feel attracted to each other. And so when it comes to manifestation, right, and attracting something in our life, how a man attracts things and how a woman attracts things may look a little bit different. And
Yes.
the reason is because, first and foremost, our biology is different. As a woman, we have primarily estrogen with a small amount of testosterone. And a man has primarily testosterone, small amounts of estrogen. And because of these hormonal differences, it affects how much stress and action we can do in our lives in order for us to maintain optimal wellness and health.
Yes.
So that means that if as a woman I want to maintain my health, my radiance, my youthfulness, um, good energy, feminine energy, then I'm going to use maybe more of the magnetic principle in manifesting, which means thinking
Hmm.
and then sitting in the energy of magnetism, which is feeling, so that those things are drawn to me, taking inspired action. But my inspired action is probably not going to be as much as the masculine. The
Yes.
masculine actually enjoys being more in action than the feminine most of the time because of that testosterone. Men are driven and enjoy moving more, utilizing that testosterone. It needs to be used. So
Yes.
that means being in action, utilizing those things, not because one or the other is better. Men can
Yes.
also use magnetism, meaning feeling, to draw things in, but they feel better and actually attract more by doing more
That's so
because it
true.
feels good to them.
Yes, that is true.
So, I mean, I'm sure if you want to share more on that, because I don't
No,
want to feel like I'm speaking for men,
no,
but
I agree with that, and that's 100% true. You know what I mean? We were discussing this morning, right? Like, what's the difference between feminine and masculinity when it comes to everything, right? And I agree 100%. I think men are more directed to taking action and all that stuff, and I agree 100.
yeah. And I think sometimes people mistake that, and sometimes it can get a little bit, I don't know, sometimes even controversial because some people take it offensively, but I think that's a personal issue maybe that someone needs to work through. But the simple fact is, the whole point of life is to optimize and to
Yes,
be happy, right? And be at peace.
I
And
agree.
in order to optimize our health, our finances, and our relationships, then we also need to be willing to accept ourselves and accept certain truths about who we are and how life works. Why do I love manifestation? Because it is based in fact. It's not just foo foo, like, oh, this is how I want things to be. No, there's certain laws that exist that allow us to experience the life that we want, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with our biology. There's certain things that are just true. And one of those things is hormones. We're hormonally different. So the more that we can accept and work with the things that we're given, I think the more that you thrive. The more that you push against and don't accept who you are, the less the harder the harder time you're gonna have um, optimizing not only your health but your relationships. Having that polarity, having that amazing relationship, and it doesn't matter whether you're a male or female or whether you're same sex relationships. You have to have polarity in order to have attraction. It's just a fact. So, anyways, it looks like we lost Adam.
I
But
think it wasn't, but
yeah, and one thing I think that maybe we should share before we head off today is um I kind of forgot to touch on this. Maybe we should share this more in the beginning stages next time, but success stories I think are really moving for people. And I
yeah,
think that both of us should share just maybe a story or two from our past, right? Because people will look at us and maybe they follow us on Instagram, maybe they don't. But right now we are living, in our dream life. We have the things that, we wanted, that we have, manifested. We brought those ideas, those dreams into reality.
yeah,
And I do think maybe we share a success story from our past of a specific maybe thing that we wanted to manifest that we now have, because people do listen to results, right? I mean, you can't
yes,
lie, right? You write it down, talk about it, and now here it is in front of our eyes. A lot of
yes.
people need the physical representation of it in order to maybe give them that belief.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if I want to go ahead and touch on something that I have now that I was manifesting a long time ago. Of course, one was having freedom. I think that I have the freedom that I want right now, and I'm super happy on that. I didn't understand quite yet what it was, because before I had this misunderstanding of what money was. Right, I thought just by getting money, by getting paid better, was actually becoming into me being happy. And I think that a lot of people think of that, right? A lot of people think that the more money that you make, the more happy that you are. But I think is true on that direction, but at the same time it has to be true on being free, because it's not the same have a lot of money and still being attached to a work, still being attached to not being free, right? It's
Yes.
still have uh, those hours robbed of your life, than receiving income, being financially free, and at the same time doing whatever you want with your day. So I think that that's something that I'm really really grateful of, that I was able to achieve, and was actually finding freedom, doing what I love, doing it whenever I want to. And the second one, traveling around the world. I think that was one of my dreams always. I always wanted to travel to fun places, uh, doing a lot of getting to know different cultures, because I think that's very, you will become rich the moment that you start traveling the world. And I say it in a way, not because you're in a nice beach or anything like that. I say it in a way that you are getting to know different cultures, or how the world functions in different parts of the world. I think that you will have a better understanding on how rich you are as a person. So I love that. And the third one is having the relationship that I of my dreams, right? Being with someone that is driven, that is in the same vision and the same values, which is super important. And just being happy, having that good space of being really really in peace on that. And I think that I those three areas I'm golden. I'm super happy on those things. I can tell that I'm at this stage of my life, I'm genuinely happy in any simple aspect. And right now is just thriving in the next things and the next things, of getting what I want. I was able to spend also, help family members, doing things with the money that I'm getting to be able to impact other people. I still have some other goals that I'm trying to get. One of them is obviously, opening a dog shelter. I want to go ahead and help a lot of dogs around the world, and that's still one of the goals. Is getting there, and I'm already being grateful about that, because I know that I'm going to be able to impact a lot of animals around the world, and of course kids too. I think that's one of my passions as well, helping little kids with um, with those essential skills that they need in order for them to be successful, not being forgotten. Right. I think the younger generation of our world needs attention, needs those skills in order for them to go to the next level. And I think those are the things that I was able to achieve the moment that I start creating and start believing in those things. And I'm super grateful for that, to be honest. And honestly, I review my life, Holly, on how it was before and how it is right now, and it's honestly unbelievable how fast and how things change so quick without even notice. I mean, time flies, like I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And people that listen to this, it's it's beautiful to hear from people who are living their dream life, but also who are stepping into making more abundance, right? Making more money and actually have like a good heart,
Yes.
people that are genuinely good souls that need to be in possession of more money. I
Yes.
have a really big belief in that. There's so many people out there who are really not good, people, and they have money. Why? It's not because the universe judges and gives people who are good people money. It's because you get what you believe. And
Yes.
many of these people without good hearts are out here making tons and tons of money because they don't care. They know that they're worthy of the money and they maybe scam and lie and cheat and steal and all this stuff to get rich. But it's time for people with good hearts, good intentions to get out of their own way. Change your beliefs because you are, every single one of us, right? You are the key to making huge impact in your
Yes.
community, in your family, in the world because you may think, oh, it's just, tiny old me over here. What can I really do? You stepping into your power and being who you need to be, you don't even know the impact that's going to have on people around you. By people seeing you step into your power, it inspires them, it invites them to do the same and
Yes.
to be a good person and to spread positivity in this world. And so if you're somebody out there and you're thinking like, I want to have an impact in the world, I want to do good things, I want to help people, my family, whatever it is, it starts with you changing you and finding out how you can step into your purpose and monetize. Because here's the truth of reality: money gives you options. Money
Yes.
does give you freedom of time and many things, right? Especially if you're setting yourself up not only just in a job that makes you money, but in a passion that allows you to be rich. That is going to set you up for success. Welcome back, Adam.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. I guess more people came into the office, and then the internet just kind of crashed.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. We were just talking about kind of we wanted to share some success stories and I was just touching on the importance of good-hearted people
Yeah.
making money, right? To have an impact on in the world and on the planet. And so I want to share really quick just a couple success stories and then if you want to maybe share a couple too, Adam. And one of those is, just little things when it comes to manifestation. And I think success stories can help a non-believer become a believer, right? Or maybe just give them that courage that they needed to just maybe try it. And so first one is when I was about 19 years old, I had a journal, and around this time is when I like to say I went through like my awakening. And an awakening basically for me was realizing that maybe I actually am the creator of my life, and maybe by changing my thoughts and my energy, I can create a different result. So one of the material things that I wanted at this time was a Jeep. And so because I'd heard all these things about, if you want it, just think about it, think about it, think about it, write it down, and it might come into your life. So for 30 days straight in my journal every morning, I wrote, I thank you for my Jeep. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was like, thank you for my new Jeep. Thank you for my new Jeep. And I did this religiously for 30 days. And of course, after I did that practice, I ended up forgetting about it, going on with my life. And it was about a month later after doing that practice that I went to the car dealership. I don't know, I had an inspiration that, I needed to get a new vehicle. And I had totally forgotten about the fact that I wanted a Jeep. And maybe because in my mind I thought there's no way I'm going to afford it. It was out of my price range at the time. And so basically what I did was I go in there and I kind of had an open mind. I was like, this is my price range. This is what I want, kind of an idea of what I wanted, didn't mention a Jeep. And so the guy, he takes us out to the lot and he's like, this is the one car that's kind of in your price range with the amount of miles that you want. And it was Jeep.
It's a Jeep.
And I'm like, ah.
That's awesome.
And so those are just little things that it's like I didn't even know, but then after the fact, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was wanting, and didn't even think that was going to be a possibility because of my price range and XYZ. But also, I say this to also show people one, that I was specifying I wanted a Jeep, but I wasn't being specific about the color and exactly what I wanted it to look like,
Mm.
which is important because many of us will specify maybe I want a partner, right? But then they don't say, the type of characteristics that they want and da 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 da, right? So be specific because you will get what you want, but unless you put in the details, then maybe it will come back in a way that is still what you wanted, but I'm just saying be specific because I do believe also that you will get the specifics of what you're wanting, but you do have to like specify in your order, just like if you were going to order something at a restaurant or anywhere, right? Like you're not just going to say, I want food. It's like, okay, well, what kind of food do you want? Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
And what are you in the mood for? Whatever. So that's kind of one of the material things. And then I will say one more thing and that is obviously the life that I'm living right now. And for many years, I had this dream to travel the world. Another thing that I actually didn't really fully let myself desire because I thought it wasn't going to happen. So I was like, I'm just going to hope, but I'm not going to like fully jump into this is going to be my reality because I was too scared of being let down again, because I think in my past I had a lot of experiences like that as a child, feeling like I wanted something and then it wasn't a reality. And so I just got let down and let down and let down. And it was just like so hurtful and hard. So, anyways, as my brain just spaced, but basically what ended up happening is um I remember a little bit before I met JC, I was going through this process where I had this decision. I was like, I'm ready to meet my husband. Like I'm ready to meet my partner that's going to be my life partner. And I remember telling my family because I'm kind of like, I
She
guess you
she
could say,
she didn't specify that it was a Mexican though.
no, I didn't, but I had to leave some room for the universe to work in my favor.
Right.
But I'm kind of delusional when it comes to manifestation, which I think can serve you a lot. And I was telling my family, I'm like, I know and I feel I'm going to meet my husband within, 2 months. Like I was like, it's soon. It's gonna happen soon. And I
Yes.
would go to bed at night looking in my bed and thinking, I'm going to soon have a partner next to me. So I was acting as if it was already there. And when I was in my car driving, I would drive and listen to like love songs and just imagine and feel the energy of being in love, and
Mhm.
going on dates and stuff like that. And alongside the manifesting love, I was also imagining myself in tropical places and, traveling the world and smelling, the scent of the ocean and doing these type of things. and smiling and being so happy and using music as a vehicle for my body to feel these emotions. And I kid you not, 2 months later, that is when we reconnected, because once again, we had connected in the past. And I was like, I wonder why I didn't really like truly give this guy a chance. And next thing you know, we're in a relationship and then we're traveling the world. And I didn't even realize how powerful this was until, once again, we were in Brazil together and we were
Mhm.
driving. And I'm like, this is the exact same feeling that I had in when I was driving, and I wanted to be, in a tropical
Yeah.
place. And now the wind is blowing through my hair and I'm looking around and I'm like, this is
This is
this is
it.
exactly true. Like, how can I even negate the fact that manifestation is real? Like, how do I even have doubts at this point?
It's incredible.
That is so crazy. That is so crazy. I say that because look at this. I literally in December 6th of 2016, and you can see right there the date, right? December 6th, 2016. This was my background of my dream car. Okay, you see that is white, right? White, Audi R8 white, and I put it there. I said one day I'm gonna go ahead and have that car, and I'm gonna go pay cash. One day, 2016. The funny part is when I had the money and when I had the ability to go ahead and buy my dream car, guess what color it was?
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And this is in May 22nd, 2022.
That's
It's
awesome.
so crazy. It's so crazy how manifesting works. I wanted a white R8. I put it out there. I was watching it every single day. I was taking actions and step toward it, and automatically came. I
Yeah.
forgot about it. I literally forgot about it. Like I just put it out there and I forgot about it. And when I was checking my pictures, I saw the picture of the background. I was like, holy crap, this is white. It's white. It's the same car that I have right now. Literally, is the same car.
Wow.
Color, everything.
Yeah.
Convertible, everything. And I was like, holy crap. This is so that's when I started saying, like, okay, this
This
is
has
this
got
is
to be something.
gotta be something. This has
You
gotta
should
be something.
show him the picture of the you remember when you were in Mexico and you put the stick figure drawing across from you?
Oh
This was
yes.
pretty crazy. When he showed me this, I was like, that's crazy. He puts this like stick figure drawing across from him like he's going on a date with a girl, right? Basically, he's manifesting without even knowing he's doing it. And he'll have to show you the picture, but basically he draws a stick figure woman with like long blonde hair and in Mexico. And funny thing is, he didn't even remember that photo until we went back to Mexico in that exact same place. I was sitting across from him
No
and he
way.
took a picture and he's like,
Yep.
holy crap.
What?
In the exact same table
I feel
with
like
me sitting
JC,
across from him.
I feel like he's kind of a natural manifester. Like, because he's, I'll just be honest, JC's one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. Anytime he walks into the room, it's like, hey, what's up, sunshine? Everybody could be like this at their computer typing, and he walks in and we're like,
Hi.
and I think that energy he has is powerful. And maybe at this time, like when you had the R8, the white one on your phone, you probably weren't even into manifesting at that time. You probably didn't even really know. You were naturally bringing it about. And I think there's a lot of people in the world that don't really know what they're doing, but we're
Yep.
all manifesting something,
Yep.
when when I walked in that room full of CEOs and VPs, that's when I started believing. I said, like, I'm gonna be one. I'm gonna be one, and I believed it, and I became one.
Yeah.
True.
From customer service, from customers, and that's what everything that analyzing all my past. That's when everything happened. It happened when I took an action and when I believe it. I had to dress up like one, right? I was in suit and everything like that. Everyone was like, "Is this the owner, the VP, the whatever they were asking me?" I was just a freaking customer service agent, you know. But I was owning it. I was owning it so much, and my energy and my belief was so strong that it happened.
Yeah.
It happened. Literally, the next month I got called and said like, hey, you want to go ahead and help the president of Latin America, being the right hand of the president. Back then it was Jorge Alvarez. Honestly, I love that guy. He was such a great a mentor in so many ways. And I start working as now as the right hand of the president, and then I start going to marketing, and then to sales, operations, and I start getting from there until I became the owner of my own company. I mean, honestly, I never thought that it was gonna be so fast and that easy until I start believing in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it wasn't like you said, Adam. It was natural believing. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that I was knowledgeable in what manifesting was. Like, for example, now that I am with Holly, that I understand more what manifesting is and all that stuff. I was like, holy crap, I've been manifesting my whole entire life without even knowing.
Yep.
That's
You
awesome.
don't have to know how electricity works to use it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. We have about 3 minutes, so if you want to say anything else, Adam, and then we probably need to close out. I just don't want it to like shut down on us and
I
us
just
be
wanted
like, what
to
the heck?
share a really quick story. So when I was a kid, I was in high school. My dad he brought me like the bones of a 1964 and a half Ford Mustang. And he said, we're going to fix this up for you for school. And so we worked on it together over time. But I noticed like if I would call my dad, I would get out of school, I would call my dad, hey, Dad, can you come help me work on the Mustang? He would say, oh, maybe, I'm busy today, but maybe I will. I learned that if I just went and started working on the Mustang myself, he always showed up. It's probably
Mm,
like parent guilt or whatever, but he was like, oh, Adam's actually doing something, and he wanted to help me. And I feel like the universe is that way.
mm,
Like when you have a desire to change your thinking and manifest your reality, you have that desire, the universe is like, okay, I'm gonna start to help you get momentum. I'm gonna put things in play so that you can get the ball rolling. And I feel like that's why I didn't know you guys were this much into and this knowledgeable on the subject. And so I'm super grateful to have been invited to be on the podcast, on the live, just because I know that it's from me recently starting to try and manifest more and
Yeah.
more. That's why this is happening. And to me, that's a small win. It's a small miracle. And I appreciate you guys inviting me to do this and letting me speak and rant a little bit about different things. You guys are awesome. And also I feel like the people watching this, gosh, they have a community now with you. This is episode 1, and I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more, because when you guys set your mind to something, you do it. And so I'm excited to see future episodes and things like that, and to
yeah.
have this community that I could be a part of. So
Yep.
thank
Yeah, thank you, Adam. I think this was perfect timing, and obviously we're all in the same energy because we're all obviously moving toward, you know, our goals and dreams, and that's really important. So it's also going to be cool for us to, stay connected and continue to, maybe, do another show like this with even more success stories to share and to inspire people in that way. So I mean, that's pretty much the concludes our episode today. I think that we honestly we did a lot of amazing um, wins that we shared, and also just a lot of great content for people to take and potentially apply. And even if there isn't something to apply here, I hope that this awakens something in people and gives them an opportunity to maybe think differently so that they can attract different things in their life. So I
Mhm.
don't know, JC, if you want to say anything else before we head off. I will say go join our community because that is going to be a huge part of helping keep you, engaged and successful and
Yes.
accountable to the changes. And so we will post a link to that, and hopefully that will help you out. So thank you guys so much.
No,
Awesome.
thank you, Adam. Thank you, Holly, for being here, and we're super excited. to be honest, Adam, for everything that you said. We want to go ahead and change millions of lives with the right tools and with the right things. I think that we are we are super. I don't want to say that we have all the things that take place in order for people to go ahead and start making progress, because I think that's what we lacked at the beginning. We lacked that formation, those beginning tools in order to get to the right goals. And we're super excited to be sharing that with you. And obviously, we're super excited for all your success, for everything that you have been doing. And brother, you are honestly one of the things that people will see how much you have changed, how much success you're having now, and that's a testimony of what this is. And super excited for your future, my dear friend Adam. Super excited for everything that you're going to accomplish, and we're super excited to see you on TV. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell that's Adam. That's Adam.
We know that guy. We know that guy.
I went and saw it. I went into theaters and saw all of the episodes, and I do come out at least 3 times. I would get to the show and I forget to look for myself, but yeah.
All cool. Right. Perfect, guys. Nice. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next chapter. The next episode, episode number 2, is going to be awesome. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Let's get it, guys. Goodbye.
Yeah.